What's up, friends? In this video I'm very excited to be on my way to the bike shop to pick up my new bike. We're gonna get this thing assembled, talk about the bike a little bit, why I chose it, why I'm putting certain parts on it, and just give an overview of the bike and what's to come this year. Thanks for watching, and here we go. It's been an awesome year riding the Rocky Mountain altitude. Honestly, probably my favorite enduro bike I've ever owned, or ridden for that matter. I feel like it checks all the boxes that I was looking for in a hard charging, downhill oriented enduro bike. The bike this year is going to be a little different. I'm actually downsizing to a 150, 160 travel bike, and you will see here shortly what that is. So, you guys may have noticed, I'm a bit of a bike slut when it comes to getting new bikes. I mean, I only had this Rocky Mountain altitude for a year, and I'm not selling it because it's a bad bike. It's an awesome bike. But I think that for the sake of this channel, it's good to be trying new bikes, be reviewing different things, and it provides a lot of good content when I'm able to go through the process of building a bike, giving first ride impressions, long-term review, trying out different bike parts on the bike. So there may be a point where I just fall in love with a bike and it becomes my long-term bike. But man, I just love bikes so much, and I think it's so fun to be trying out new bikes frequently. And obviously when you're buying a new bike every year and then selling it the next year, you might take a little bit of a loss, but I've worked that into my budget, and it's something that I'm willing to do for this bike hobby slash business that I'm very passionate about. However, this bike that I'm about to go pick up, I think it has potential to be a long-term bike. I think that it's going to check a lot of boxes and be a lot more well-rounded than the enduro bikes that I've owned previously. So I'm excited to put it to the test in the upcoming months. Picking up the bike from EASTSIDE CYCLEWORKS in Leavenworth, Washington. And shout out to Pat and the rest of the team there. They are awesome, and they've been supporters of the channel for the past couple years, so I seriously appreciate them. If you need to purchase or rent a bike in Washington, then be sure to look at EASTSIDE CYCLEWORKS. They've got really nice high-end bikes from Transition, Santa Cruz, Trek, Yeti, Rocky Mountain, and more. So yeah, I'm excited for this bike. I wanted something that was more of an all-mountain bike that was going to be a little more efficient climbing, still a good descender, but maybe a little more playful. And I think this bike is going to check all of those boxes. We're getting into Leavenworth here, so let's go get this bike stoked. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. New bike day. Yo, what's up? This box says Engineered to Party, TR. That stands for transition. So, Transition bikes, located in Bellingham, Washington. I've been a Washington resident for like 4.5 years now, so I've been kind of excited to support a Washington bike brand. And obviously the riding here is world class, but there's some awesome people here as well, and some awesome companies, and I love my job, so planning to stick around for a while. Over the past couple years, I've been renting and demoing a lot of bikes from Transition. The Smuggler, Aspire, the previous Sentinel, and I've basically just fallen in love with the way that these Transition bikes ride. I feel like they're very well balanced and well mannered, and jump well, descend well, and climb really, really well. So yeah, let's show you the goods. This, underneath all of the paper and cardboard, is the new Transition Sentinel. This is the Shimano XT build, and it comes with RockShox Ultimate Suspension. I will be swapping out a few things. So let's get into the bike assembly. Oh my goodness. Just took off the cardboard for the first time Look at that pretty Sentinel. I don't know, man. I'm a big fan of a white bike, but I do have some custom decals that I'm gonna put here to add a little bit of color. Show you that shortly. So yeah, we've got the RockShox Lyric Ultimate fork and Super Deluxe Ultimate shock. Honestly, similar to my previous bike, I've been loving RockShox suspension lately. These latest iterations have been pretty dang awesome. This Shimano XT build comes stock with these DT Swiss M1900 rims, some Maxxis tires. I'm basically gonna swap over these Crank Brothers wheels and Schwalbe rubber to this bike. Gonna set it up mullet to start, although I do have a 29-inch rear wheel, so I'm gonna start mullet, but down the road, I'm going to try it out full 29er. I've just kind of been liking the mullet setup lately, so we're gonna stick with mullet for a little while. And then yeah, going to put on a P&W Cockpit and my Crank Brothers pedals. I've got some cool Race Face era carbon cranks that are gonna go there. And what else? Yeah, just some custom bits and pieces, I guess. All right, I got a few things going on here. So first off, I took off the bottom bracket that came with the bike for the Shimano XT crankset, and I've got a Race Face bottom bracket that's gonna fit the Race Face era crankset. I'm excited about this crankset. It's their carbon fiber crankset. So it's carbon fiber, but it's got this metallic faceplate, which I think is cool, just with, you know, your foot rubbing on the crank arm. Lifetime warranty on these. They're super light. So excited about those. So yeah, next step is install the Race Face bottom bracket, the Race Face era crankset and chain ring. This is a 30-tooth Race Face chain ring. Also gonna install an MRP bash guard. I had this from a previous bike, and it's a great bash guard and chain guide combo. So yeah, let's get going on that. I've got little man hanging out with me, and over here we've got some, what do we got? Some Brage going on, little Sandscape Eternal to set the mood. And we just watched some Supercross. How was that? Good. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, bottom bracket's in. That was pretty easy. Next up, we've got the installation of the Race Face era crankset. We're very excited for this crankset. Crank arms are 165 millimeters in length, and I was excited to try a slightly shorter crank length. I've always ran 170, but there's kind of been a big push lately for shorter cranks. People going down even to like 155, 150 cranks, which seems crazy to me, but there are some benefits to some shorter cranks. Yeah, lifetime warranty. Excited for these ones. They look sick too. That doesn't hurt. All right, we're back at it. You may have noticed that this bike build is taking place over the course of several days, sometimes at night, sometimes early in the morning like today. But man, when you've got 3 kids and a full-time job, sometimes you've just got to take those 20 or 30 minute windows when you can get them. So next up is MRP bash guard installation. Let's go. All right, bash guard has been installed. I like this bash guard from MRP. This little guy, chain guide, can go up and down. It's got the bash plate on the bottom with a few different sizes that it comes with, so you can get it, you know, not hanging too low. It can be right where it needs to be under the chain. So I've got my trusty Crank Brothers Stamp 7s here that are now on their 3rd bike.
All right, pedals are on. I think the silver matches nicely with the cranks and the stem here. Next up is let's get the wheels on, and man, we're getting closer to a full bike here. All right, this is looking like a mountain bike here. We're gonna take it off the stand and then get the handlebars on and the grips and the brakes. We've got my P&W Loam carbon bars. Recently released a video testing these and comparing them to the aluminum bars, and decided to stick with carbon. They are cut down to 780 at the moment. All right, for grips, I've got the P&W Loam grips in the peanut butter color. You'll see here shortly why I went with this peanut butter color. Basically, this whole bike is gonna have some brown accents. For some reason, I've always wanted brown accents on a bike. I just think brown looks cool. We'll see how it turns out. So I've got the brown P&W grips as well as the matching dropper post lever. All right, friends, since we last spoke, I've made some awesome updates to the bike, put on some decals, some frame protection, some little bits and pieces. So let's flip this camera around and show you. Bam, this right here is probably the finished product of this new build. So some things that I didn't really record just because it wasn't gonna be very fun for you guys to watch. I put on some tan or like light brown decals from Groundkeeper Custom. They are very similar in color to the P&W peanut butter color grips. So kind of like a tannish brown color. The fork sticker is from Slick Graphics, and then frame protection from All Mountain Style. I've got it on the top tube and the down tube so far. I actually still need to put some chainstay pieces on there, but use the code on the screen to get 10% off AMS frame protection. But man, beauty. I'm really excited with how this bike turned out. I think the brown decals and grips just kind of give it a little pop of color that's nice. And man, really excited to put this thing to the test in the upcoming months and throughout this year. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my plans this year. I've got a couple enduro races lined up. I'm not going to do a full series of 5 or 6 races, probably just a couple this year. And that's going to give me some more time to go explore new zones and ride with friends. I've got a trip here shortly to Oaxaca, Mexico with Oaxaca Bike Expeditions, so that's going to be fun. Actually not going to be taking this bike, but they've got a bunch of rentals from Transition, so I'll borrow one of their bikes. And then I've also got a trip to New Zealand planned later this year. Going to ride some bike parks here in Washington and maybe beyond. I've got a Utah trip planned, so yeah, lots of fun stuff upcoming. Stay tuned for that, and we're going to put this bike through the ringer. Honestly, I think that 150, 160 travel is probably going to be good for 90% of the trails that I ride. There might be some trails here and there where I'm wishing for some more travel, like when I go to the bike park, for example. But on those days, you know, I'll either tough it out or just rent a bigger bike. But what's cool about this Sentinel is that it has the ability to bump up the travel to 160 rear, 170 front. So if down the road I decide that 150, 160 is not enough travel, then I could always bump it up. And all my previous enduro bikes have been like 160, 170. So I like that this has that option, but with this bike, I just really wanted something that was going to be a little lighter, more efficient climbing, a little more well-rounded, so still a good descender. But I've also been enjoying playful bikes, and Transition is known for having some pretty playful and fun bikes. Also, I think having the smaller rear wheel in the back, the mullet setup, is going to help with that. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for this year. I've got a lot of fun trips and rides planned. Don't forget to check the description below for some discounts on bike products. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.